Howdy everyone, this is Tricia and welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to be making a fall pumpkin sitting scarecrow. This is going to be a very small project and I've got all my supplies right in front of me, so let me show you what they are. Okay, so these are my supplies. As you can see, I've got quite a few items here on my desk here, and I've got them from an assortment of different places. Some items are from the Dollar Tree, some are from Hobby Lobby, and I may have gotten some other things from Walmart. I don't even remember because a lot of the things that I have here I already had, but you can still find a lot of the stuff in the stores. So the first thing we're going to need are going to be 2 pumpkins, and we want some little small pumpkins about this size. This one doesn't tell me the size on it, but I can tell you right here it's about 4 inches across here, and it's about 2 to 2.5 inches in height. So in case you want to know, that's about the size that I got, that I'm going to be working with. Now I've grabbed 2 of them because I decided that I'm going to be making 2 scarecrows. I want to make a female and a male. And then I decided that I needed a little head for them, so I picked out these 2 smaller pumpkins. And these are about 2.5. And they're about 2.5 going across like that, and then up and down they're about 1.5 the height. Now initially these were going to be my heads, but then I decided that whether do I want to use these and then paint them like a skin color, so I can then use some Sharpies and draw a little face. So that's something that you can decide you can do, or I can just make my little heads out of felt or a fabric. And I decided to go with that route because I thought, well, this is going to get hidden a lot because it's going to have a face and then some raffia for hair and then a little hat, and this little pumpkin's going to get hidden away. So I decided to save these for another project. But if you want to go ahead and go that route and save yourself the trouble of making a little head with felt and so forth, then you can go ahead and pick these out. And I've just got an assortment of pieces of felt here, and that all just depends on what I decide to use to well, for the head, definitely going to be using some skin toned felt. And I have a lighter one over here, so it just depends on what tone you want your skin to be. You want it to be a lighter beige or a darker beige, or maybe even this beautiful kind of caramel color. If you want to go that tone for your skin, that's your choice. Now our little scarecrow are going to have little feet, they're going to have little hands, so we want to decide what color we want our little shoes, and our little hands can either be the skin tone or you can give them like little gloves. And then we're going to need a green in any tone that you want, because we're going to put like a leaf collar on them. And then we're going to make the hat. So then the hat, you would then choose the color that you want for the hat. And the arms are going to have like a sleeve, so then you need a color for that as well. So I've got some colors here that I'll choose from and decide on that. And then I've got an assortment of some beads here. These are all wood beads, and these are about, let's see, the package didn't tell me because the package was an assorted packet and it didn't say, but these are about 1.5 in height and about 1.5 in diameter, not circumference. So they're about a 1.5 inch bead, okay? And they've got a nice big hole on them. So you want to make sure that they have that. And then I got these cute little wooden spools, little like thread spools, and they also have the hole drilled into them. So we want to make sure that they have that. Now if our beads that we chose have smaller holes that you cannot fit a chenille stem through, then you can go ahead and use like a embroidery thread instead of using the chenille stem like I'm going to use it. But I really recommend that you do that because we're going to do something really cute. So then of course you're going to need some chenille stems, and we're going to need, for each one, we're going to need, I believe, 3. Yes, we're going to need 3 chenille stems. So I'm making 2 of them, so I have 6 pieces here. And that doesn't really matter the color because we're going to be covering them, so no worries on that. I've also got some little embellishments here, some little pine cones, little mini ones, and then some little fall leaves, and then of course I've got some little flowers. So that's up to you if you want to use that. I'm also going to be using some craft buttons, little buttons that I've got here, a little collection. I've got some leftover ribbon. I've got needle and thread, we're going to be needing that. And then we're going to be using some raffia and some cotton balls. And if you don't have cotton balls, which these are the easiest thing to grab, you can use some fiberfill if you happen to have some in your home. If you don't have that, you can also use a tissue paper or even a toilet paper tissue, okay? So those are the supplies we're going to be using. I'm going to be using scissors, I'm going to be using wire cutters, my glue gun, of course, I didn't remember again to get more glue sticks. So I'm using my little skillet here where I melt my glue. So I've got some of that going. It's nice and hot and it smells. Oh, okay, so let's get to crafting. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to remove these sticks from the bottom. Now they're kind of hot glued in there, so you kind of have to work them around to be able to pull them off. If you can't pull them off, then you can use your wire cutters and then just cut in there as close as you can and just cut them off. Okay, so that's what we're going to do. Just remove those, and these are going to be the body of our sitting scarecrows. Try not to put these too close to this heat over here because they'll melt. Okay, so we'll push these aside. We want to make some heads for our scarecrow. So let me go ahead and grab some felt. And this is the skin tone that I've decided to use. Well, I'm dropping beads everywhere, but that's okay. I'll pick them up in a little bit. Let me put this here so I keep them from falling. Okay, so this is our felt, and I've got 2 sheets of that. Actually, I have more than that, but I'm probably going to use 2. And the way that I'm going to decide this is what size do I want my little head to be here. And remember that we measured the other little pumpkin. Let me go ahead and get that. And I think I had measured it like 1.5 by 1.5, sort of, kind of. So if I was to add the 1.5 by 1.5, that's 3 inches. So I'm going to add an extra inch to that. So I'm going to say 4 inches, but I want a little bit extra than that, so I'm going to go ahead and mark this at the 6 inch. So I'm just going to cut a little bit here, or you can use a pen to mark that. So I'm going to go in 6 inches, and then down here 6 inches. Grab one of them for now, and I'm going to fold it and then fold it again. Well, let me fold it twice. I'm going to try to round it off a little bit. It might not be perfect. You just kind of eyeball it. Or if you prefer to make a pattern with some paper, do that. But this is what I've done. So then I can do the same to the other one. Okay? So that gives us a sort of a circle. Okay? So now we're going to take some cotton balls. Like so, and then we're going to thread our needle. So I'm going to go ahead and cut away to thread my needle, and I shall be back. Okay, so I'm back, and I've gone ahead and I've threaded my needle with a nice long piece of thread, and I've doubled it, and then I've made a little knot at the end. You have to go ahead and thread it the way that you are used to doing that. So we're going to take some cotton balls, and right now we don't know how many we need. We're going to take this and we're going to put some, like for now, for example, I'm going to put 4 of them in there. And then I'm going to put this like that, right? And I'm going to decide if that's going to be a big enough size for the little head. And I'm deciding right now that yes it is. So now that I know that it takes about 4 of them, of this particular size of cotton ball, I'm going to take my thread and I'm going to go along the edge, in and out, and it doesn't have to be, they don't have to be close together. Don't have to be perfect. Just go ahead and just thread all the way. Okay. We're just going to do that, and then I'm going to do the other one off camera so that you don't have to be bored with what I'm doing here. Okay, so we're going to throw those in, and now we're going to pull this, and we don't have to pull it all the way tight, okay, because we're going to cover this with a little hat anyway. And not to mention that we do have these little bits here on the top that I was just thinking about when I was putting the head. Okay, now that I'm doing this, and I'm putting it on there, kind of liking the idea of putting it like, kind of like standing up like that, rather than downward, because I could choose to have this go into here, and then I don't have to worry about taking that off. But if I do that, then I have it too wrinkled here now. What I could do is I could just take another cotton ball and stuff it in there and make it so that it spreads out the fabric a little bit more, and then maybe choose one side. You know what, I'm going to put in another one, you guys. See, because now it's smoothing it out and giving me a little surface for a little face right here. And see, and I don't have to worry about the back over here. That's all going to get hidden away. But I want a nice surface here for the little face. So we kind of want to push the cotton balls and shape them. And look, that fits just fine. So that's what I'm going to do, okay? So I pushed cotton balls into there, but then I pushed them towards this edge to create this little bit of a flattened surface here. And if you have to, go ahead and stick another one in there. And then just pull on your thread. Always making sure that you've got that nice, one side nice and flat. That can be your little face. And that's going to be it. Okay, so just pull this. And it doesn't have to be pulled completely close, like I said at the beginning. It doesn't have to be closed all the way. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and knot it so it doesn't come out. And let's find, there we go, a little face area right here. I think that's pretty good right here. He almost looks like an E.T. Okay, so that's what we want to do. And now we can go ahead and trim this thread off. I'm just going to run it one more time, make another little knot, and we're going to trim this off. Okay. So let's keep in mind, this is the front here, and you still got room in there to, if you want to poke in another cotton ball, poke it in there so his little head doesn't get flattened. There we go. I think that's nice. Just like that. I'm going to fix it a little bit more by spreading the fabric and pushing it back. That's the nice thing about it being gathered, is that you can maneuver the fabric. Okay, I'm going to flatten it. And then we can just put some glue here and then just glue them right on top. Okay, so I'm just going to dip it into my glue here. It's not quite. I turned it off. That's what I did. Okay, let's turn it back on here. It's still picking up some glue. Alrighty. And then slide it over that little bit on the top. What is that? The little stem of the pumpkin. And keeping this nice flat. And there we go, just like that. Okay, so I'm going to go off camera and I'm going to do the other one. And then I'm going to use my glue gun here to slide in some more glue in there to make sure that it's all glued down. The second one, of course, my glue will be melted by then, so I'll be able to properly put glue on it. But for now, this is it. And I'll be back. Alright everyone, I got the little head on both of them, and then I also got ahead of myself and did a face on one of them. So I'm going to go ahead and do it on the other one. And all I did was I took a piece of orange felt. Let me get my scissors here. Got a little, like a little rectangle, just a little tiny little rectangle. And then out of that, you're going to cut a small triangle out of it, and it doesn't have to be perfect, obviously. I can tell mine already isn't perfect, but there's my little triangle. So now I want to glue that on to the face right there. So I'm going to use my glue gun, or if you want to use a tacky glue, Aleene's tacky glue or Elmer's, you can use that. Oh, this is a nicer spot here for his face, right here. A little flatter. So we're just going to glue him down. And then we'll take the black Sharpie, and I'm taking a fine point. And I'm just going to do some little lines, make it look like it's been stitched on. And I'm not even going on to what is the skin color to make the little lines. I'm just doing them on the little triangle. It still looks like they're stitched on. Okay. Like that. Okay. So now we want to do a little mouth with the same black Sharpie, and we just want to go across him. And don't try to make it straight or anything, or, you know, perfectly curved or anything. Just do it as wiggly as you want, like so. Come up a little bit. Do some little dimples like that. And then if you want, you can go across them. Little skinny lines here. Make it look the little mouth was also stitched on. And then for the eyes, I had a blue Sharpie, so I decided to use that for my pupils. So just draw 2 pupils. I can't see, so I'm going to turn it this way so I can. There we go, right there. One over on this side. So just 2 dots like that. You don't have to be perfect about them. Just keep in mind that felt is, you know, it's got the little furry bits of, they want to keep coming off, so they'll get pulled up when you're using your Sharpie. Now on her, I went across the top and then on the bottom, and then I made like little lashes. See? So on his, I'm just going to go make a little curve over the pupil like that, and then another one under it, and just meet them up. And meet them up and just do that. And that's all I'm going to do. You don't have to give them any eyebrows. You can if you want. Give them some nice thick eyebrows if you want. We'll do that on his. Give her some very on fleek eyebrows. Okay, there we go. And now we're going to put some raffia for some hair. So I'm just going to cut some raffia from here. Okay, so now we can take these bits that are here. We can fold them into pieces, cut them in half again, cut them in half again till we have like maybe some 4-inch length pieces. And then what we're going to do with these little 4-inch length pieces is we're going to start in the front, dipping this in the glue, or just use your glue gun. And then just start sticking them next to each other. So you're just going to cut a whole bunch. Cut a few at a time. Don't think ahead and then cut way too many, because then you're going to waste a lot of raffia. So just cut a few at a time. Glue them on like that. And don't worry about starting way up here, because we're going to put a hat. It's going to cover that. So we just want it here on the sides. Now, once you've gotten them on here, if you want to trim them, and maybe now they become 2-inch pieces, then use these little pieces to put on to the rest. Okay, so just do it that way. It's easier to cut them into 4-inch pieces, glue them on, trim off half, and then the half that you've cut off, now glue it back on his hair. Now it's going to be up to you if you want to take some of these and glue them here in the front and then trim them so he can have a little set of bangs. So that's up to you. So I'm going to continue doing that to him and then to her, and I shall be back once I've got raffia all the way around. And I'm probably going to put some bangs on her. All not on him, but I'll put some on her. Alright everyone, so here are my little 2 pumpkin people scarecrows. And I've got the raffia on there as their hair. On him, I went on the sides and the back. I didn't do the front like I said, and I cut it to 2 inches, approximately the length. You can cut it whatever length you want. Hers I went a little bit longer, and I went ahead and I went all the way around in the front as well. The front I cut it shorter so they'd be like little bangs. Okay, you can also see that on her, I've also got, let me hold her up here. You can also see on her that I've also got a little collar, a little green collar, and then I've got some little arms on her as well. So let me show you how I've done that, and we can do that for him now, but we're going to do it this exact same way. Okay, for his hands, I took a chenille stem and I cut it in half, or for his arms I should say. I cut it in half, so then I have 2 pieces alike so. You may not need to cut them in half. In hindsight, you can just use the whole piece like that. But I went ahead and I cut them in half. So I'm just going to go ahead and continue the way that I did hers. So you can either choose to do it that way or choose just to keep the whole piece together. So anyway, now we need to do some little hands just like her. So we're doing it in the shape of like a mitten, or it's almost like a heart shape, but one side is bigger than the other, because this would be, you know, like the thumb, and the other part would be the other fingers put together. So we're going to keep it simple and just make like a little mitten shape, okay? So for that, I just took the little scraps that I cut off when I made the head pieces, the circles for the head. I just took a piece and I just folded it in half. And I don't remember if I measured it or not. No, I didn't. So you can just measure about 1.5 inches or 1 inch and fold it. And then just cut. And then you're going to cut that piece that's already folded in half at the fold to make 2 pieces. And then that you're going to cut in half to make those 2. And you want it to be 2 layers, okay? Just like that. Okay, so then you're just going to basically cut it like a heart shape, but one side bigger. So we're going to make one big loop, and we're going to go in a little bit and then just make another, smaller loop, and then just like that. Okay, and it's like flat on one side right here. It's kind of like flat, and then I went and I made one big loop and then a little loop like that. Okay, so that's all you want to do. You can get a pencil and just mark one out and cut it. I'm going to take one of these off and just use one as my pattern to cut the other 2 pieces, and just go right on the edge of it without cutting any of that piece that I've already cut. And just cutting this here and making my little flat side. And remember, the top one belongs to this one. So there we go. So now we want to put these where the little thumbs, since we have our hands like this, our thumbs are on the top. So we want to maneuver these so the thumbs are on the top. And then this is going to come out of that, and this is going to come out of that. So we're going to open it and just flip this one over. Flip it open like a book. We're going to take the ends of these and put glue, and I've got glue in a little hot skillet right here where I've been melting glue. So I'm just dipping them in there, or you can use your hot glue gun. Okay, I'm just going to dip mine in there, and I'm going to get it on both sides of the stick, just on the tip part, about 1/2 inch of that part of that little tip. Put that down, flip this back again like a book closing, and press it down. Now I can use my glue gun on the little thumb area here, and then the rest of the mitten area on this other side, on this edge, and seal it. Okay, now that I've got them like that, I'm gonna need some sleeves. Now if you're using these pumpkin measurements that I'm doing, this is what I cut the sleeve, will be the fabric of the sleeve. I decided to go with this orange that matched her pumpkin already, but you can do whatever other color. If you want to use like a plaid fabric, if you have some scraps of fabric that maybe have a little bit of plaid or some sort of a fall print that would kind of coordinate with that, use that, because that would look really pretty. Okay, so anyway, what I did is I took one of the little arms and I put it around like the neck part, and I decided, well, you know, I want it to be about, you know, so long. So back here I bent it like that. So I knew that this part was not going to be part of my length. And then I did the same to the other side, and then I bent it as well, but I pretty much just basically did where I can just twist these together. So that's why I'm saying you can either leave it a whole piece and then just put it around and then fold it, and then this twist this end while it's not, the chenille stem has not been cut in half. Like let's say that the little hands were on both of these ends right now. I would just take it around and decide, well, this is how long I want my little hands my little arms to stick out with the little hands. So I come back here and then just go and push it and fold it right there. This is where I want it, so then I could just twist that. And I know that that is where this would then open up, and this would be the length of my little arms, and I didn't need this length. So it's up to you if you want to cut it in half or not. Okay, works either way. So now we're going to put some little sleeves, and the length of where I bent it here to here is about 3 inches. Yep, it's the same as what I did over here. So then I took my fabric, and I'm going to go ahead and do the same with him, and I'm going to use this orange. Actually, you know what? I'm going to use some blue for his arms. We're going to pretend he's got an orange vest and a blue shirt underneath. So he's got some blue sleeves sticking out. Okay, so then we're going to take a piece, and the way that I chose to do it, it's going to be 3 inches in length, but I decided that it's going to be about 1/2 inch wide. So then I cut 3-inch length by 1-inch strips. Okay, so just on your measuring here, just cut about 3 inches, and then measure out 1 inch, fold it. So we're going to cut 2 of those, 2 of those little pieces. Anyway, here we go. So now we're going to remember that little thumbs, these are the little thumbs, the smaller part. This is what's going to be the part that goes up here. Or this is the smaller part of the little mitten that we cut out, which is the hand. And they're going to be like this in front. So keep in mind that that's the front. So when we take these little sleeves and we fold them, we want the fold to be like that, where it coordinates with the thumb. Okay? So keep that in mind. So we're going to take this, one of them, right now, and we're going to put some glue along the outer edge on one side, and then somewhere in the middle, close to the middle. And remember, we want the little part that's supposed to be the thumb to be on the fold. So don't put it going down towards the edge, but rather towards the middle. And then you also want this blue to overlap the hand just a little bit, so put it in there a little bit, and then bring this one over and glue it to that, down to the glue that we put on the edge there. So we have a little sleeve like that, okay? And then here's the fold, and here's what the thumb is, and then the rest of the hand. Okay, we do the same to this other one. Okay, so there I have the 2 little arms, like that. And I want to put a raffia around the wrist right here. And the neat thing about putting a chenille stem, the reason that I'm using a chenille stem, is that I can fold the chenille stem and I can curve it. I can put it down. I can put it upward like he's saying hello. You know, you can put it in, you can fold it into different positions. So that's why I like using the chenille. Okay, so we're going to take some raffia, and I have some raffia right here. And we're just going to cut some little strings here. Bring this over, and this is the hand. Remember, these are the little thumbs. So this is the outer part that's going to be facing like that. See, when I put them on there, this is the outer part. Here's the thumb facing upward. The same over here. So I want to make sure that I tie it on one of these so that the thumb is facing upward, and my little knot is on the outside this way, and I don't want it on the very edge, but a little bit down onto the sleeve where the cuff would be, and like that. Just put it on there, make a little knot, and then just tighten it, and then you could just trim it like that. Okay, so this is the part that I curved that's going to be like that, and I'm going to curve this one to remind myself that this one goes like that, so I want that little knot of the raffia over here. Okay, so there's the second one, and there we go. And we just want them like that. See? Like that. And those are going to be the little arms. And we're going to weight off on them a little bit. But let's go ahead and put him on there first, because I'm going to do something real quick. See where they're, this is where they were going to, where I bent them right here. You can then just twist these together and then kind of come behind him and make sure that that's the length that you want, because you could always loosen them up a little bit, and I am. What I'm going to do is I'm going to wrap this one around like that, and then this one around like that. Bring it behind. Yeah, that's what I'm going to do. And then twist them. So I have them like this, okay? And then just twist them. And don't worry about the little end. Just kind of push it in to itself right there like that. Or you could trim it up, but I would just make a little twisted bit right there, so you don't end up cutting them too much and then they slide out of each other. But you're going to glue them to the back of your little man here. But now we need to make the little part that goes around the neck. And I've gone ahead and I measured, and I believe I told you guys that it was like 4 inches in diameter, the pumpkin. Yeah, pretty much. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut a 4x4 square of a green, and I chose this green. And I've actually already measured it down here 4 inches, so that's 4 inches. And it's a little bit more than 4 inches because this is 9 inches going across. So we're going to just trim that going like that. And we're going to do the same thing like when we did the head, is when we folded it in half, and then we folded it in half again. But this time, instead of cutting like a circle, we're going to go in, out, okay? So from this fold, we're going to go in, and then go out towards this little pointed corner here. And it doesn't have to be the same length of points, okay? And then we're going to go back in like that, and then out towards that fold like that. Okay, so if you hadn't glued the head on yet, you could go ahead and just make a little hole here, stick it into the stem, and then glue the head on. But make sure you put plenty of glue down here to glue it onto the pumpkin first, so that then when you glue the head on it, it isn't like just glued onto that and then it just comes all wobbly off, because this hasn't been glued down. So make sure you glue this down. But what I did is I just folded it, and I made a little cut on one of the back ones here to the center, and then I cut out like a 1.5 inch diameter or so hole like that. So then I created that right here, and then all I had to do is bring it around and kind of pull it. And on the other one, it kind of met, and at the back, and oops, sorry. Well, the other one, it didn't meet. It just had a little tiny little bit there where it didn't quite meet at the back. On this one, it is, for whatever reason. It's meeting up just fine. Maybe I made the little hole a little bit bigger. I don't know. But anyway, just cut it so that you can put it around like that. And then you only have to put glue back here where the two ends can be glued out down to the back of the pumpkin here. So just put plenty of glue there. Put down the ends. Make sure you don't burn yourself. Pull out any raffia out of the way. And then the next thing you're going to do is you're going to pour some more glue in there in the back. Here in the back of the little head. Right there. And you're going to put your little arms, making sure the little thumbs are facing upward. You're going to slide your little arms in there. And I'm going to use my scissors to push the chenille stem into that glue. Into the back, what is the neck, or the back of the head. Like that. And there we go. There's his little arms. So cute. And then you could just shape them and round them off a little bit more. And there's some chenille stem into the hand as well. So you can even curve the hand a little bit. It's also not just the arm. But look at that. Isn't that cute? Okay, so the next thing we want to work on, we can either work on the hat or we can work on the legs. And we're going to need, I believe I said 2 chenille stems. And I folded this one, so I'm going to go ahead and grab another chenille stem. Let's grab these right here. Let's untwist this one that I folded. Let's say we have this one piece together and we fold it in half. And then you put it underneath, let's say right in the middle, the center back here where you took out that little pick. And if you feel like this is a good length for your legs, then you only need 1 chenille stem. If you feel like it's too short, then use 2 chenille stems and then trim them at the length that you want them to be. But I'm looking at this and I feel like just 1 now that I'm looking at it folded in half is just fine. So I'm going to go ahead and try that out. So let's put these guys out of the way over here for now. This thing is really hot here. Okay, I'm going to put these chenille stems out of the way. So I want to make their little shoes. And I'm just going to make them kind of like I did the hat, where I did some little circles and then I gathered them together. So I'm going to grab my needle and my thread once again so I can make the little feet, little shoes. And I'm going to cut this time. I think I'm going to cut I'm going to go with 4 by 4, okay? And then this is probably going to end up a little bit smaller. So let's go ahead and just try a 4 by 4 for now. 4 by 4. This is 4 by 4 right here. And we're going to need 2 for each one. So we want to cut out 4. Okay, so I've cut my 4 squares, and then I've already made these into little circles by folding in half. Folding in half again, and then rounding it off like I did when I did the heads. So just do that. They don't have to be perfect, so just do that. And then we're going to take our thread again, so around the edges. Okay, so now I've reached the end here, and I'm making this little gathered poof here. That's going to be our little shoe. So we're just going to take one of these little cotton balls and push that inside. And this time we're going to want this thread to be pulled and this to be completely, you know, pretty much almost closed. Okay, we're just going to be putting the end of the chenille in there. Okay, so we almost want it completely closed like that, like a little pouch. So before we end it, and we're going to do this as we do each little shoe on our leg. So we're going to take this one, we're going to take another chenille stem and fold it in half again, and then I'm going to decide how far in I want this. Oh, about right here. So I'm going to fold right here. Just do this little fold. Keep the center fold bent, and then do some little bends like that. Okay, so that's what I want to do this other one as well. Just going to open it up just a little bit. Okay, all right, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some beads, slide in, a spool, another bead, maybe another bead, a spool. Let's see, how many beads do I have? Let's do this one. And we're going to leave a little bit of length right here. Do I like that? Yes, I do. Okay, so this little length that we have here, we're going to put lots of glue on that, and we're going to stuff it into this little boot. I'm going to break open the cotton ball right here a little bit. So I'm going to stuff that into my melted glue pot over here. Pick up some glue on it, or use your glue gun, and now I'm going to put it right in the middle, and then I'm going to pull on this and just pull on it. There, nice, like that. And then I'm going to make knots where I pull the thread as tight as I can. Okay. Okay. Now I can snip it. Of course, if you're using your glue gun, then just put some glue on it, stuff it into the little shoe bit, and then sew it. But now I'm going to put some more glue right on the edge of the fabric to touch the bead to make sure that it is glued down. And what I'm doing is I'm going to push down on it to kind of form a little foot. So most of the cotton ball moved forward this way. Can you tell that most of it is up here in the front? So that's what I'm going to do with the other one. And just push these down like that. Okay, so now that I've got this where I want it, and this last bead up here on the very top, I'm going to pour some glue right in there as well to sort of keep it from moving around. So we're going to let that dry. We're going to start forming our other little poof here to make our other little foot over here. But of course we're going to slide the beads in first, then put a little bit of glue on there, put the shoe on, tighten it, sew it up, knot it, glue it some more up here. And then I'm going to repeat it for the other one so that we'll have legs for both our senor and for our senora. Okay, so I'll be back. All right, everyone, so I finished off the legs with little shoes as I said I would, and I've already actually glued them onto her. So So let's go ahead and do that with him. So we're going to turn him upside down, and I've cut a little square here of orange. So now I just want to circle, I want to make it as circular as I can. So again, I'm going to fold it in half and then in half again and trim that. And this little circle is about maybe an inch or two in diameter. It's about 2 inches. Let me make it a little more rounded off right here. It's about 2 inches. We just want to make sure that it covers the bottom part right here. So we're going to take our little legs, and they're going to be popping out from under him right about this much. Let me hold it again, about so much. Okay, so we want all this part of the beads to be underneath him. So we want to, I'm going to dip this into my pot of glue, and this is the front, my feet. So this bottom part is the bottom. So this is the part that I want to get as much glue on, so then I can glue it to this front part here. This is the front. Okay. Okay, I'm using my little skillet there. Let's get those on there. And then I'm going to get some more glue. And I'm actually using this popsicle stick. And then I'm going to put it on the chenille stems right here and some on the pumpkin. This helps to get that glue on here if you're using a little skillet. Of course, use your hot glue gun. It's a whole lot easier than doing what I'm doing. And then you can use this little fabric to push down and make sure the chenilles are stuck. And this also kind of helps to hide that as well, so that you don't have like this little bit here of the pumpkin where we trimmed it off either with the wire cutters or we pulled it off. The little sharp edges there, maybe the sharp, I don't know, point part of the chenille stems might scratch your table or mantle or little shelf, depending on where you decide to put these little sitting scarecrows. So now I'm just going to put glue on the edge, and of course I could use my glue gun, but I'm using my little skillet to put glue around the edges to glue this down. A little bit more over here. And obviously this is not a project for the kids because we're using so much hot glue. But if you decide to go a little bit slower and take your time and let things dry slowly, and you want to involve the kids, and you can use Aleene's tacky glue. That should stick everything together. Okay, so that's on there now. So now we've got his little legs. And I got him a little twisted. We're going to bring these to the front because that's the front of the foot. And see now where these two little beads are, that's where we can bend to kind of make that's his knee. So when we sit him down somewhere, he's sitting like that. Or you can even cross his legs. You know, that's why you got the chenille stems, so that you can shape them. But like I said at the beginning, if you don't want to use the chenille stems, you could actually use embroidery thread or a twine to put through and create the legs, and they can just be like dangly legs. And it'll sit on your shelf, and then on the edge, they'll just naturally fall down and look like he's sitting down. So you could do that. Okay, so then to the little feet, the little shoes, I made these little raffia bows. Just going to put a little bit of glue there. Put that at the front of the foot. That kind of hides where I also did a little bit of the sewing. Or you could wrap it around and tie it if you want. I found it was just fine if I just made little bows. So I just took some pieces of raffia and looped to make little bows. And it's not that easy. You can use some ribbon if you prefer, or some, like I said, embroidery thread would also make a cute little bow. Make it look like a little piece of lace. And then just trim off. I'm going to pull these a little bit more. These are a little big. I made hers a little bit bigger than his bows. Okay, so trim that, and then I'm going to put some glue in the back of this one. Glue it right there where the knot of thread is. There we go. That's what the little shoes will look like from the side. Right there. Okay. So as you can see, again, I've gone ahead and I've done her hat. So her hat, I chose a maroon felt that I had, and then I put a piece of ribbon on it. We're going to do the same for him, except that I've got like this charcoal gray felt or you could use black or brown, whatever colors you want. That's why I say if you use felt, it's easier to shop for that. But if you happen to have lots of scraps of fabric, then use those. But the felt makes a nice little hat because it's kind of a little bit stiffer than a piece of like cotton or something like that that probably won't form as well of a hat, but you are going to fill in with some cotton balls in there. So that'll help you. So you just make your decision what fabrics you want to choose for each item that you do. Okay, so let's do this little hat. And I believe I cut a 4x4 square. I don't remember exactly if it was 3x3 or 4x4. I'm going to see. Let me measure this here. It was about a 3x3. So let's go with that. So 3 by 3, and it's not a perfect 3 by 3, guys, just eyeball it. Okay, so we fold it again and then again, and once again we are going to round off the edges. Just open it up, round it off as best as you can. So we have that. This is going to go on top of his head. So what we want to do is we want to put glue all over and make sure we overlap the little bits of hair here, the little raffia, so that they get covered up with the felt. Once we put that on there, that's going to be the brim. You can use your glue gun to put glue around and then some in the middle. I'm going to use my little craft stick here to pick up glue. Get them over here, close as I can, and then just smear the glue, making sure I get it on the raffia. And then I don't want to cover his eyes. His eyebrows I don't mind, but I'm going to go with some glue running across his forehead. So now we can take our big piece of felt, kind of center it on his head as best you can, and then just push it down. And then right here you can just lift it up where his eyes are, okay? There we go, so you can see his cute little face still. He looks like a little French scarecrow guy. Look at that. Looks like he has a little beret. But okay, so now we want to make the little comb part that goes upward. And all I did was I took the corner part here and I folded it in half. And then I just measured about 3, I think it was like 4 inches or so down, or 4.5. And then just cut. Okay, and then I just cut a little bit off the tip here. I think I did a little bit more on the other one, but we'll do a little bit less on this one. And then we just open it like that. Fold in one part, just like that, just a little bit. We're going to put some glue along the edge here with our glue gun. Let me turn this around this way. So we're going to put glue. Like I said, you can use Aleene's tacky glue for this. It'll work just fine. And then we're going to get the edge on here. And then on here. Okay, so there we go. So some of this is going to be a little bit longer, and that's fine. We'll lift it up. I feel like the other one was a little bit bigger, but that's okay. She can have a much more, fancier hat than his. Okay, so this is what I did, and I just made like a little cone like that, and then just kind of cut to make it sort of like even like that. See? And then we're gonna get cotton ball. Oh, here I have one already out. So we're gonna get cotton ball and just break it. And then push them in to the tippy tip and just push some more. And like that. And because this is smaller, probably, well, no, I'll go ahead and use the whole cotton ball. Okay, so then what I did with mine is I also grabbed the craft stick and I put glue along the edge and I made a mess. And then I just stuck it on here like that. Okay? So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to make a little bit of a mess here. Use your hot glue gun, okay? Or Aleene's tacky glue. Oh, I don't know how many times I'll say that, but you know what I mean. Use the glue of your choice. There, all along the edges. It's like a little ice cream cone, guys. Like I'm fixing up a little ice cream cone. And I'm just going to make this sure the seam is in the back. I'm going to put it sort of centered as much as I can. And then I'm just going to push down on it. And the other one I kind of pushed it and kind of crumbled it. Kind of made it all try to make it as raggedy as I could. I even pulled on the felt like that a little bit. And mainly because I had some glue strings on it. So I was pulling off the strings and then I decided, kind of like that raggedy look. So you can do that. And then you can look at it and see, well, does it look like I centered it? If it doesn't, then trim off wherever it's a little bit bigger in the other spots. But I think on him it looks just fine. Okay, so then I took a little bit of ribbon, sort of kind of measured it, cut it, and I started at the front. So then now I'm going to use my glue gun for this. Put a dab of glue, and then just put this down. Now it's not going to fit perfectly because the ribbon is too straight and this is slanted. So we're just going to bring it like that, like to the back, to kind of meet it like that. Okay, so it's not going to be straight. So just put little dots of glue here so this can glue down, and then little dots of glue on the other side so then this part can glue down. Okay. Like that. And then we'll do the other side. Like that. He's very hillbilly-like, okay? That's what his little hat's like. And then this other end, just kind of glue it down. And then you can just trim off the ribbon edges that are too much, too long. You see? It's not perfect. Okay, so then I want to see his eyes. So I'm going to put a little dot of glue right here. And bring that up and glue that down to the ribbon. And that lifts his hat up a little bit, gives it a little bit of character, so it looks a little different from hers. So here we go. Let's put them side by side so we can compare. I'm not going to use this now, I don't think. So here we go. So remember I had little pine cones, and I had these little leaves, and you can use whatever you want. If you want to make a little bow with your ribbon and put it on her hair, go right ahead. Maybe a little bow tie for him if you want to do that. I got some little buttons, and I'm just going to take out some here, and I'm going to glue some on her front here and a couple on his as well. So I'm going to grab these little brown one here, little dot of glue, little button there. Yeah, let's use this other little, I want to use different ones. I don't want them to look the same. This is like a mother of pearl, so I don't want to use that one. I'll use this white one. Put that one there. And for him as well, 2 little buttons going down the front, or maybe you want to put 3, depends how many you want to put. So I think that's good enough. I'll put the rest of these away in just a moment. Okay, so now I also want to put orange. Let me do a red leaf. I'm going to put one right under his chin right here, and I'll do an orange one for her to contrast her hat. Her hat's red. I wanted to add that maroon to him, so he's got the same maroon. Okay, so then I can do the same thing on the hats. Maybe this time I'll use an orange leaf on his hat right in the middle right here. And then I'm going to get one of these little pine cones, put some glue also on in there. And since the ribbon seems to want to come forward a little bit, I'm just going to kind of tuck it in there. See that? It's kind of tucked right in there. For him, for her, I'm going to take one of these little flowers. I'm just going to pull it right off of here and just trim off a little bit of that part in the back here, a little plastic. And then I'll put plenty of glue on it. And I'm going to put it also kind of tucked into the ribbon, because the ribbon kind of comes forward a little bit right there. See? Look how cute she looks already. Now it's up to you if you want to maybe get some more, maybe smaller pumpkins, put it between their hands, maybe a little flower, whatever you want, or maybe a little sign or something that says, you know, Happy Autumn, if you want to create something. I'm going to take these pine cones and I'm actually going to put it in his hand. Like he's got a little, let me see, do they reach enough? Just barely. Let me bend those little chenille stems in there. Let me use this glue this time. Now I could stop right here, guys, and they're done, but I want to have them holding little pine cones. So put it right here. And then I'm going to use this bigger one that I have here. Put it right there. Bring the other one over. Squeeze them together. And just kind of hold it till it dries. And then, you know, you can start pulling off these little webs of glue. Alright everyone, so I've completed my fall sitting pumpkin scarecrows, I think I decided to call them, or was it a fall pumpkin sitting scarecrow? Something like that, but they're both finished, so I've got my Mr. and my Mrs., my Senor and my Senora. Look at them. He's holding the little pine cone in his little hands. Isn't he cute? And then I've bent his little knees at the two beats where I feel like he should be bent, or you can bend them wherever you want. And then I've done the same with her, but I kind of crossed her legs a little bit, and I actually have her holding just one little pine cone in her hand, and it almost looks like he's trying to hand over another pine cone to her, you know, because you know, he's in love. He's a scarecrow in love, everyone, and this is his girl, and he wants to give her another little pine cone. Maybe those are babies. I don't know. What do you think? Anyhow, everyone, I'm going to give myself a big old thumbs up. I hope that you too will give me a big old thumbs up. Leave a nice comment down below. Let me know what you think of these. You'll be trying them. I think you should. I really think. You can make this a little bit simpler than what I did. You don't have to go the extra mile of making the little head. You can actually use another little pumpkin for the head and just use Sharpies to paint a little face on them. Okay, and well, what do you think? Make sure you subscribe if you haven't already subscribed, and thank you to everyone who has been subscribing, and thank you very much for your lovely comments and your really nice wishes for me. I'm doing fine, you guys. I find the strength here and there to do things, and I'm mostly because I have the inspiration to keep doing because of all of your nice comments. Thank you so very much. Let me know if you have any ideas of what you'd like to see next. I think I'm going to be doing some Halloween. Some of you gave me some thoughts on what you want me to do, and I've actually had one plan on doing a witch's hat, but now I'm going to do a skull with a hat. So somebody suggested that, like a skeleton or something with a hat. So that's what I'm going to be doing, and I'll see what else I can figure out to do for fall, and then I think I'm going to be gearing towards Christmas after that. Oh my goodness. So just give me any suggestions and see if I can find something to do somewhere in there. I'm going to try to do things not too expensive because I did spend a lot last year. Anyway, that was really long. But thank you all very much. Make sure you hit that notification bell. I have videos every Tuesday and every Friday. And once in a while, I have a weekend vlog. That's it, everyone. Make sure you share your social medias. And as always, enjoy.